everyone, welcome again to my channel. So let's continue our SQL practice set. In this video again we are going to discuss some complex SQL queries. Okay, so this is a part 2, right? So let's continue with the question. So the first query over here is what? Write a SQL query to fetch duplicate records from employee detailed tables, okay, without considering the primary key. So it usually happens in a table there may be two or more records may have the same values. Okay, so here we have simply said over here without considering the primary key, because we know primary key is always unique. Okay, so how do we solve this query? How do we fetch the duplicate? Which record is duplicate? Okay, that means which record is repeating in that table. So in order to do this we are going to make use of group by clause. Okay, so we will write this query over here like this. Select emp name. Okay, let's say the employee details table is having 3 columns: employee ID, employee name, and employee salary. Okay, salary. And the next is what? Count star, and we can name it as let's say the name of this column is duplicacy, right? Okay, now from which table? From, it is employee details. Okay, details. Okay, here we are going to group by which we want to group by this according to employee name, name and salary, right? Okay, so on the basis of emp name and salary we will count the occurrences of that record. Okay, and after getting this resultant group by table, what we will do, we will use a having clause. Okay, in order to having duplicacy greater than 1, right? So thus this query will fetch out all the rows, okay, all the records from the table, okay, that are having count star greater than 1. Okay, so this is our first query. Now let's see our second query. So the second query is saying over here, right, query to fetch even records from emp table. Okay, now we want even records. Now what does this even record indicate over here? The records at the position 2, 4, 8, 6 and so on. Okay, so in order to solve this query we are going to make use of mod function. Okay, now let's see how do we write this query. Okay, select star from, let's say the name of the table is emp. Okay, here we are writing where, and within where we are writing the condition. Now what will be the condition? As I told you, we are going to make use of the mod function. Okay, and the row num, where mod of row num %2 is double equals to 0, right? So this is a simple query that will fetch out all the even records from a table. Okay, so this is a second query. Now let's see our next query. So third query is saying over here, write a SQL query to create an empty table with the same structure as some other table. Okay, now what does it indicating over here? That means if we have a table, let's say table 1, okay, we want the same structure of this table 1 in table 2, but we don't want to add the contents that are present in that table 1 into table 2. Okay, so in order to solve this kind of condition, this kind of situation, how do we write this query? We will write the query like this. Here, create table, and let's say we have given the name to the table is, let's say, table 2. Then we will write select star from, so the table from which we are going to take the structure is, let's say, table 1, and here we will specify a condition like where 0 is equals to 1, 2 is equals to 1, or any of the condition that is invalid condition, right? So here what will happen, here firstly we have created a table, let's say, so by executing this line we will be able to give a name table to a kind of table. Okay, so after the execution of the second line, what will happen, all the structure of the table 1 will be copied to the table 2. Okay, now the table 2 will also have the same columns that are present in table 1. Okay, now in the third line, what is it saying? We want only those records from table 1 to table 2 that are satisfying this condition. But as we know, 0 cannot be equal to 1 in any condition. Okay, so this condition will not true for any record. So there will be no record that will be added to this table 2. Okay, so only the structure, that is the structure of the table 1, will be added to the table 2 and not the contents of table 1 to the table 2. Okay, so this is a query that will create an empty table. Okay, that will having the only the same structure as the table 1 but not only the data, right? So this is a third query. I hope so you understood this query. Okay, now let's see the next query. So the next query is over here. Write query to fetch top n records having highest salary. So through this query, we want to find those n records that are having the highest salaries. Okay, so how do we solve this query? So the answer to this query would be select star from the table name is, let's say it is employee table. Okay, employee. Now here is a condition where in this query we are going to make use of the row num. Okay, where row num is less than or equal to n. Okay, whatever the n we want to specify. Let's say if we want top 3 records, top 4 records, top 5 records that are having highest salary, so we can specify in at the place of n. Okay, if we want 3, then we will specify over here 3, 5, then we will specify over here 5, and any. Okay, so n is just an indicator over here. Now here we will use an order by clause. Order by, on the basis of salary we want to order that table in descending order. Okay, so this is a query. What it will do, it will first order the table on the basis of salary in descending order. Okay, and then what will happen, this query will fetch out the top n records that are having the highest salaries from that particular table. Okay, so this is a query that will fetch up all top n records having highest salaries. Okay, so this is all about today. Okay, I hope so you enjoyed this lecture. If you like my video, then do subscribe to my channel. I used to upload many practice sets that are based on SQL, and it will consist of all the questions that may ask to you whenever you go to any SQL interview. Okay, so you can subscribe to my channel for this reason. Thank you.